How would you like to have 50 booked appointments per week from clients that are only wanting to work with you without having to do cold calling, open houses, and spending thousands of dollars on paid ads? Well, today you're going to see the exact blueprint that Franco, a real estate agent from Texas, was able to achieve that in just 3 years. Franco's going to share how he was able to go from 0 subscribers to almost 100,000 subscribers at the time of this recording. He's also going to share the videos that he would focus on right now if he needed to get a real estate lead today. And he'll also address the biggest mistakes real estate agents are making on the platform at the moment. So if you're a real estate agent that wants to make YouTube work for you, then you're not going to want to miss this video. Franco, thank you so much for joining us. This is an interview that a lot of viewers were asking for because there's a lot of demand from real estate agents wanting to learn how to make YouTube work for their business. And I've known you for several years now, and I've seen you start a YouTube channel from 0 subscribers to about 100,000 subscribers by the time this video goes out. So thank you so much for making the time. But before I kind of, give away all the endings, if you will, tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in real estate, how long you've been doing YouTube, and then we'll springboard from there.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jaime. Thanks for the invite. And you know what is YouTube has been a life send for me, a lifesaver, because when I started in the business back 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago now, I was the good old Mike Ferry way, door knocking and cold calling, and I hated every minute of it. I was doing it, but it was just a painful process. And with that system, for me, it was like learning it, having to do it, having to door knock, and repetitive. And every year you have to start from 0. So I was looking for something coming back into real estate. I had been out of doing deals for a few years and just coming back, jumping back. I was a loan officer before, so really not knowing anything about real estate, but I did know how to prospect and how to cold call. And that was the way that I did it for many years. Like I said, it works, but it's a grind. And every year you have to start from 0. And I hated every minute of it every time I did it. So I was like, okay, YouTube. And my son had a YouTube channel. And one day he's like, Dad, I need you to sign some papers because I'm making some money in YouTube. I'm like, what do you mean you're making some money? You're posting gaming videos and stuff. He's like, no, you should try it because it's the new thing. This is 3 years ago, February. When in December, he was asking me for a new computer because he wanted to get, more viewers and this and that. And I saw one of his videos hit 500,000 views. I'm like, well, he's not doing anything. What do you mean 500,000 views? So he told me how to start the channel, how to open it. And then I came to the team at FG with you, Jaime, and then really took in and embraced the YouTube philosophy. And it was started very humbly, 3 years ago, putting one video a week and starting to just practice. And this is I'll jump right into one of the key things, for agents that they need to know. It doesn't matter how much you suck when you first start doing videos. It just matters that you get good at putting it out there because nobody will watch you at the beginning. So for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to grab the phone. I started doing little stories on Facebook, and that kind of got me comfortable with talking to the phone and learning. And as I was learning and got into the rhythm of things, I started to then produce the one video a week. And I remember very clearly still having that conversation maybe 2 months into it with you specifically, because you coached me through the whole process, which was an amazing process of like, if you want to be noticed on YouTube, one video is not enough. You got to do 3 videos a week. And I'm like, oh my God, how do I do 3 videos? I can't even do one. Because the other mistake that agents make is they think they need to know everything. And for me, I wanted to at least learn it because I had no idea how to edit, how to create thumbnails, how to come up with content. All that is the stuff that is part of what you need to learn. And as you go, you will, but don't let it get in the way because people get paralysis of analysis. And for me, I was like, I just got to do it. I don't care how it looks. And I had my mom watching my videos and my kids watching the videos. I remember at some point I was like, okay, I got to get views. So I would put 2 or 3 computers and then I would start my videos on the computers, which is completely wrong. Do not do that because one of the key things about YouTube is they will find your audience for you. You don't have to do what I was trying to do to get some views because I'm like, there's a certain number of views that you have to get monetized. And I'm like, if I do that, maybe then I'll speed that process up. So the bottom line, Jaime, it's been an amazing journey. I'm almost at 100,000 followers now, and it's been a life sent because it gives me over 50 booked appointments every week right now. I have now a team that supports that. And from, February 3 years ago, it took me a moment, but just so that you have a sense, because one of the key things that people always ask is, what's the secret? What's the secret about getting to 100,000 viewers and or subscribers? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to, break the spell of what the secret is. I'm going to just say it. It's not talent. It's not how good you are, how good you speak on camera and what kind of cameras you have and angles and this and that. Because if you watch my videos, they're very simple. I'm looking at the camera. When I'm reading from my 42-inch screen TV, because I can't read any closer than that because I'm blind, is like I turned around and I'm looking over there and people are like, you're not looking at your audience. It's fine. They don't care. If you provide information that is valuable, that's what will get you viewers. So really focusing on delivering your message, and watching my son do his YouTube channel with gaming, I'm like, I started to study that. I'm like, what is he doing to get all these, viewers? And he's just sharing some tricks and tips on how to be better at gaming, and showing the screen and showing all of that. I'm like, okay, well, let's just talk about what we always talk about. So this is the beauty of YouTube. You don't have to figure out what you're going to talk about and make all these plans and worry about all that. Ultimately, all you need to do is do what you're already doing with your clients. Just remember, it's one person in front of you. Whether one person is watching, whether there's 100,000 people watching, it doesn't really matter. You got to speak to the camera like there's one person, like your client is right there. And that, I would say, is the first thing that you need to embrace. Really find your voice. You're going to have your own style. I would say check out other YouTubers so you can see what they're doing. It gives you some guidance, but find your own voice, your own style, your own way. And that's the key. I love doing it. It's 3 times a week that I put videos out. I'm always looking at what I'm going to talk about. My wife thinks I'm obsessed with YouTube, but it's kind of like, and she pays for the, don't pay commercials. I'm like, what are you doing? Don't pay, just watch the commercials, support other YouTubers. That's how we're making money. So, there is a process of you finding your voice, but ultimately you just got to get started, start putting content out there, and don't worry about if it's the camera, the lighting, any of that. You can learn all that as you go. But ultimately is speak to the camera like you have somebody in front of you and have a dialogue with the camera. And it's that simple, and nobody cares, So that's the other part that I had to get over really fast. It's like nobody cares. And sometimes I do some great videos that I love, nobody watches. And then sometimes I do some, like, I think it's a horrible video. And I'm like, what happened, And this is how it began. And this is how you start, and you'll see as you get bigger audience and as you start getting the following. It took me from February to September to get monetized. So about 6 months of consistently putting audiences or putting videos out there. And then when I got one video, it's all it takes that it hit, I was getting 20 viewers, 30 viewers, and one video is like 4,000 views. Okay, now that got things rolling. The moment I saw that, I was like, okay, I'm going to now commit to 3 videos a week. Because before that, it was still 1 a week, maybe 2 a week, not consistent. It was hit and miss, which is, if I had to do it all over again, that's what I would change. I would be very consistent from the beginning. So the key is consistency, is what I would say, Jaime. I would say step 1, find your voice, and then be consistent, putting content out there. If you want to be noticed on YouTube, it has to be 3 videos a week. Doesn't matter how long, it could be 10 minutes. That's another thing I did, completely breaking all the rules of YouTube as I was learning and what they were saying. Oh, make it 5 minutes, 10 minutes. My videos are 20, 30 minutes, 50-minute long videos because I'm teaching and I'm sharing what's happening in the market, what's going on. Just like if I was doing a first-time homebuyer consultation, that's kind of my format, and really educate. and those take 20 to 50 minutes. They're not quick videos. So again, breaking all the rules, not doing what supposedly you should be doing. When you find your audience, there's the audience that likes you and will support you and will watch you, and that need the information. This is key because I was like, man, there's so many YouTubers, there's so many things, there's so many companies. There's people that are there waiting for your message, the way that you will share it. They will flow with you. They will like how you do it, and they will tune in. So I think that's one of the key things, finding your voice and then being consistent is what's key here.
1,000,000%. There's a lot there. So he didn't misspeak, folks. 50 booked appointments per week. Per week. There's no YouTube ads involved. There's no paid advertising involved. This is content that's being freely distributed through YouTube from somebody that started from 0 subscribers and getting 2 to 3 views for several months, So I do want to make one additional point and then ask you the question on topic selection. So there's something you mentioned is so important that we need to recognize as real estate agents, because one of the big pushbacks that we commonly get is, I don't like the way that I look, don't like the way that I sound, don't like blah, blah, blah. I don't have anything to say. Well, something that you mentioned, Franco, really, really sparked a note with me where you're sharing this information anyway, or at least you should be. You're educating your buyers, you're educating your sellers, you're educating whoever it is that is coming across your desk that is looking for a real estate transaction or real estate service. So you're already sharing what the contract looks like. You're already sharing what things to consider when you're buying a home, things to not do while you're buying a home. Like, there's a lot of educational component that we as real estate agents, a lot of content that we put out there in terms of one-on-one. The only difference is your one person here is the camera at this point. So by you documenting what you're going to say anyway, by you documenting the information that you're going to share to that buyer that DM'd you interested in buying a home, the only difference now is you're making it on camera. So you already have what to say. The only difference is you haven't pressed record yet. So that's something I wanted to bring back, because that's such a very important point that should be pushing a lot of individuals, a lot of agents to actually press record. But the second thing the thing that I wanted to ask you was, topic selection is huge. It's very important. How do you go about finding that next video that you're going to put on your list to record?
Well, those are good questions, Jaime. And the number one thing I can tell you is, first, you got to start capturing your day. That is part of what needs to happen. That is part of what is going to find your audience with your voice, with your style, right? So for a while, I was just carrying the phone. I bought myself a $100 little gimbal thing, I have it with me. I have my original gimbal that, I used when I started. Now it broke. I have a new one now. But I carried that everywhere. And as you're going through your day, you're just capturing moments because people are interested in what you're doing. And I don't care if you're a real estate agent that has been 2 days in the business or if you've been 10 years in the business. The process that you have to put somebody through, we all understand it, learn it, and go through it. That is, people are interested in that because you have to put yourself on the shoes of the buyer. When somebody wants to buy and they know nothing about how to do that, every little thing you can share with them is important to them. So I would grab the camera and I would document, even when I was door knocking, because I was still doing that, and I would show my flyers, and I'm passing out flyers today and talking to people. I would show the neighborhoods, stuff that you just do on your day to day. And then I remember very clearly too, when you and I were talking, and I would go to preview property, and part of that preview property, you start giving people a sense, and check this out. This is a house that is you don't need to know anything about real estate to show that. And it would be about just showing the rooms, showing the kind of house, showing what the price is. And I would make these quick videos about how much is $900,000 can buy you in California. Well, a 2-bedroom, one bath apartment right now, right? But it's funny because the way that it works is people want to see what you're doing. So capturing that, coming up with when you're going to do inspections, when you're out there, also understanding the market and understanding. I would just take the first-time home buyer, let's just call the whole first-time home buyer concept, and then breaking that into parts. So how do you find content for that? you have credit report for first time home buyers. You have the money that you have to pay for the down payment. You have the different loan programs that you can talk about. And it's something that is interesting to people because not only do they want to kind of see what you have to offer and the kind of homes that are available, but also how do they do that? How do you get somebody with an FHA loan, and really talking about that and sharing loan information that you can get from your lender. I would get the little cheat sheets from them because they tell you this is what you need, this is what your interest rate is, and this is the kind of loan. And people want to know that because they're very like, okay, if I want to buy a house, how much is it going to cost me? How much is my payment going to be? Things that of that nature that are valuable to people. So really, I break it down into three segments, finding out more about the low down payment programs. Remember, keeping in mind a first time home buyer, because that's one segment of the audience that you're going to talk to. Then you have investors or move up buyers. That's another segment. But each one of these, you could break it down in that way. So what are the different down payment programs? What is the credit report requirement? Then I would make videos about if you don't have good credit, how to fix your credit. To me, it comes down to when you talk to a buyer, it's not if they can or can't buy. It's only a matter of when they will buy. And then you have to understand what are the things that are preventing somebody from buyer and speak to that. If somebody can't buy or they can buy, but they're paying 1% higher on the interest rate because their credit score is 620, well, something valuable for that audience is how to raise your credit score. Just talking about that. Even though as an agent, you're not a lender, the lender will give you all the information so you can really share that. So talking about that. Then the different home down payment assistance programs and how can you really work with from 3.5% down FHA, 5%, 0%, just the different down payment programs, and explaining a bit of how they work and what do you need. Because some of these, let's say 0% down payment programs are very hard to compete. And then even talking about the issues that they're going to run, I call it the things that they don't know that they don't even know yet. So there's one element of how do you qualify for a loan and how do you get qualified and what can you do in that way. Then there's an element that now you're going into a market that you're going to have to compete with other buyers, and how do you get them to accept your offer? So speaking about that, the different strategies that you can share about how does they have to come up with their strategies, and then how do you really get to negotiate and really talking about that. So I call that the whole segment of the process of purchasing a home from beginning to end. And you have hours and hours of material that you can do when it comes to that. The next, I would say, topic that is very important and key to share is what's happening in the news. What is the latest and greatest that everyone's talking about, like every once a month. I talk about the Fed meeting because the Fed meeting is going to move the rates, and the rates, they're going to affect your payment, as a buyer. If the higher the rate, the more the payment. So really discussing about that and then learning about what's happening with the rates. So that's another important thing, news events. And then sharing about the different maybe areas, because I have a national channel, but then you can really hyper focus in your area. And I always talk about how there's differences in the different areas. And then there's a medium sales price in an area. And then from there, you can look at strategies. How do you negotiate over the medium sales price, below the medium sales price, and kind of sharing with people what is important that that they don't have a clue. They're like, oh, houses are going up and it's going up and everything is at the highest. We're breaking records. Yeah, we are, but we're not, because there's a lot of markets that are going down right now. So whatever's trending, and you can look in Google and kind of check that out, and trending topics of real estate, people are going to tune into that. I would say one, if you're going to do content for 3 times a week, you're talking about loan programs, you're talking about news, what's hot and what's happening, and then also how to help the buyers overcome the obstacles that they're going to face. And that's how you become valuable, including the process of how do you buy, and even how do you sell the property, and what are some of those things?
That's so good. That's so good. So essentially what I'm hearing is there's different type of content, but it really comes down to, in a way, kind of two things. Number one is who is it that you're trying to reach, right? So if you're wanting to work with investors, maybe the credit videos might not be the best play, right? If you're trying to work with a certain clientele, whatever avatar you're after, you're speaking again. You haven't replaced the person; you've just replaced the medium. It's the camera that you're speaking to in place of the person for now. So identifying who it is that you're actually speaking to and making content around that's going to actually help them get into the transaction. So the second thing that I picked up from that was about the timeline. If somebody is looking to purchase today, what are some obstacles that you mentioned? You mentioned several versions, like how to get into a loan, what challenges you're going to run when you're looking for that loan, how to compare loans and things of that nature. So one, identifying your avatar, identifying the person that you're trying to speak to, and then two, working almost backwards from the timeline. So when somebody is ready to go in terms of ready to go and buy a house. Well, some of the final steps that happen before that is finding the right real estate agent. So a pro tip here that I've heard you share in the past as well is, making a video about what questions to ask your next real estate agent, right? So who's going to watch that video? Well, somebody that's looking potentially to hire a real estate agent. So how much valuable would it be? And from what position of authority would you be coming from if you're the one that creates the playbook, right? So you might be looking to purchase in Dallas, Texas. So here's a few questions that you might want to ask the next real estate agent before you hire them, as an example. So somebody that watches that, again, they self-qualify themselves as a lead at this point, a warm lead, because there's a reason that they're watching that video. There might be some intentionality. Sure, there could be curiosity, but there's more intentionality on, I'm watching this because I'm getting ready to go and search for a realtor. And it just so happens that this person that's on the YouTube screen lives right down the street from me. So let me just go reach out to this person anyway, because apparently this is the person that wrote the book on it, kind of. All right, so that's huge. That's huge. So another thing that I want to ask you about, Franco. So we talked about, getting started and having an element of patience, having an element of consistency and understanding where you're at. Second thing we talked about was topic selection. That's super, super important. Now, one thing I want to ask you, as I want to be super respectful of your time. One thing that I want to ask you was about some mistakes that you're seeing a lot of newer creators and also experienced creators. We're not immune to that. What are some mistakes that you're seeing from a real estate agent's perspective happening right now on the platform that just a simple changes and modification of behavior can drastically either improve their reach and or improve the amount of business that comes in? Because again, a quick reminder, 50 booked appointments a week is insane with zero ad spend. So what are some things that we should look out for and avoid?
Well, Jaime, that's very important because there goes a lot of work into, talking to an audience, getting everything ready, having them call you. So one of the key things that I find that most agents drop the ball when it comes to follow-up, and really setting up a system that you can capture the information of the clients and giving them a reason to reach out to you. Always making sure that you're in your videos and your communication, you're talking about the process, which the process reveals to the clients that, hey, this is not an easy thing. This is something that I understand. And that's why you can give away all the information and it won't matter, because the information that you give away, it's facts that people are clueless about. And after people watch the videos, they're like, well, I need somebody like this guy that's helping me. So really making sure that you're communicating in that way, and that when they call you or when they email you or when they text you, whichever your preferred way is, that you immediately are following up with that. Because a lot of work goes into bringing the person to talk to you. And now, we make it where everything is automated. People can book an appointment with me the moment they're watching a video. There's links to all of that. So really making sure that you're easily accessible. Now, out of the 50 appointments that we book every week, 40 of those are referrals that we give out to the different parts of the United States, because people that my channel is national. And it's very interesting to me that when I go to look for a real estate agent to refer, and I go on different Facebook groups, it's like 5 minutes to find their phone number. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm looking for agents that I can refer business to, and I go to their Facebook profile, and they are secret agents. You can't find their phone number, you can't find their email. There's no easy way to find you. So to me, that's super important, and that all your vehicles so that people can find you are easy, are quick. You have links to everything. And then something that's very basic and very simple, you have to be able to have a calendar that people can have access to, where you set your time, you're controlling your time, you're setting that up, and you're making yourself available. Now, I have that calendar with all those appointments that are available. I don't have to show up to the appointment. I have my team that does that. People don't know that, because that's another thing that gets in the way. Well, how can I do it? I can't handle all this business. They don't care that they don't speak to me when they already assume they're not. And for the longest time, I'm like, I have to be there and I have to make myself available. And I have all these different time slots, and when am I going to sleep, eat, or do live? And just know that you don't have to be the one that answers the phone, but somebody has to answer the phone. You don't have to be the one that's there to the appointments, but somebody has to be there. And 99% of the time, people don't care. When I get that overzealous person that wants to speak to me because they know that I'm going to give them better advice than my team, then we make it very simple. For $200, you can have a 30-minute consultation with Franco, and you can speak to them directly. And people, crazily enough, do it, pay it. They got the same information that my team could have given them, but they wanted to speak to me. So I protect my time. You have to protect your time, and you have to make it where people can still reach you, but there's certain levels of how you connect to people and what you allow, and you take control of your time. So that's one of the biggest mistakes I find, Jaime, is, like I said, I'm looking out there every day trying to find people to refer to. I can't even find their phone number on Facebook. I go to Instagram, the same problem. They're there, but like, if you have somebody that wants to get a hold of you today, are you reachable? Can I book an appointment with you today? Or are you a secret agent? So that is one of the key things that I would advise everyone to shift and make themselves available.
That's huge. And that's such a universal thing that we need to really adopt and be better at, especially in the new norm that we find ourselves in at the moment. That I really like that advice of course, don't be a secret agent. But something as simple as somebody is actively looking for you. Somebody's actively looking to give you business. And if you can't be found, don't expect anybody that has very little intentions of going above a simple click, going and finding you, right? So oftentimes we miss the business, not because we're not good, not because we don't have the abilities. It's just because we're not found. And we're making it very easy to be found. We are hiding. We are playing hide and go seek with our business, and that's a really bad game to win at. So right, so you want to get found at the end of the day. That's something that you mentioned as well is a problem that you work very hard at solving, and that's scaling. So scaling your business is something that, again, I've seen you go from zero to where you're at the moment, which is astronomical numbers that a lot of folks would aspire to have. Like I would say 100% would aspire to have the scaling issues that you have. Now, one of the things that you offered up, I hope that everybody adopts it and controls their calendar by introducing just one simple feature, which is a Calendly link or anything that's similar to Calendly. You don't have to go and get that particular widget or software. Get something similar, but you establish when you're available, and when people click on that link, they will schedule onto your calendar. And going back to your point, as you start hitting just exponential levels, the expectation is that they're not going to reach out to you. Like, you're not going to be on the other end. If you so get to that level as you're scaling, the expectation is that they're reaching out and connecting with somebody else. Now, that's how you start scaling. So again, this is where you go from a one-person operation into a team of is 6 to 8 staffers behind you that are actively working to push your business forward. Mr. Franco, if somebody has a question, comment, concern, or really wants to dig deep into the YouTube side, how can people get a hold of you? How can real estate agents connect with you and collaborate with you as they're looking to launch their YouTube channel?
Yeah, you guys can reach me at franco@olafranco.com. That's my email that you can get to, and send me your questions. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to chat with you and collaborate. The one final thing I want to say, we work so hard. And for me, when I was trying to generate leads, it was 3 hours a day of cold calling, 3 hours a day of cold calling. And if you can do that, if you're consistent, if you're crazy enough to do that, you're going to get business. Doesn't matter. The consistency is key. But you have to just understand that how different it is of a day and of a life where you're talking to strangers who don't care, don't trust you, don't like you, don't want to hear from you, the cold calling way, to booking your 3 hours of calls every day. People booked an appointment with you, want to talk to you, want your advice. I'm telling you, it's a very different life. It's a very different way of doing business, and something that when you still have to do the 3 hours of calling, but it's very different. It's on the other side, and now people want to, and that's why I have a team of 10 people now, and they're like, Franco, we love working here because we're not cold calling. We're just handling the business of people who want to talk to us and work with us. So that's what's at the other side of you making yourself accessible and doing the consistency. So I would recommend it.
That's such a good point. Again, I want to be super respectful of your time, but you open up something so very incredibly important that we often overlook. So the way that I like to explain it is basically everybody needs to lose weight. I don't mean to offend anybody, but if you're looking to lose weight, you can choose exercises that you enjoy. You can go play basketball. You can go and do the golf. You can do whatever exercise you so choose. Ultimately, it's as long as you're burning off the excess calories, you're going to lose weight. Or you can go and do the exercises that you absolutely hate. So in this equivalency, what I'm comparing here is if you want to go down the cold calling route, is it going to work? Yeah, it's going to work. Are you going to hate it? Probably. I really haven't met a person that absolutely loves cold calling. So it's going to work, but you get to choose how you bring in your business. So a big point here is consistency and going after really a medium that's scalable, a medium that is just allows you to control your time a little bit more, and that you're probably going to enjoy a heck of a lot better, given that you're speaking to people that actually want to speak with you. Mr. Franco, I appreciate the heck out of you. Thank you so much for your time. And folks, please, please, please connect with him. If you're serious about YouTube, you're seeing somebody that is in the top 0.0001% of realtor YouTube. I know you see a lot of other individuals out there that are trying to make it happen, but this man's absolutely crushing it at the top of the field. So make sure that you connect with them and see how you can support each other. Thank you.